Hey, what's up guys? RC Hobby Steve here. I want to welcome you guys back to the build series. This is episode 4 of my Axial scale build series that I'm doing. Now in the last episode we did, which was episode 3, we were able to get my 3S battery mounted to the top of my transmission case here, so that way I can power on my light bar and my headlights on the body. We were also able to get the multi-switch all situated in the body itself, so that's all done and ready to go. So in today's video I am deciding to work on the winch. Now I kind of have an idea of how I want to do things today, so make sure I prepared myself just a little bit so that way we can get through this video pretty quick. Alright, so my idea basically is to get the winch controllers pretty close to each other, to the winches. So I have this winch controller here, which is the normal wireless winch controller that you'll get. Let me just adjust my there we go. Sorry about the lighting, guys. I'm using my iPhone 7 here. Alright, so I have a winch sitting in the back underneath the chassis here, and a winch in the front mounted on the bumper. This winch controller is for the winch in the back, and then I have a Power Shift RC winch controller that I got off of my friend Trevor for the one in the front. Now these both of the winches are going to be powered off of one battery. So I have a 2S LiPo here by Super X. It's a Radiant, I don't know. It's a Radiant 2S battery, 1600 milliamps. So I tested it out before, made sure that both winches work perfectly fine at the same time if need be under this battery, and everything worked perfectly fine. So this is the battery I am going to be using, and the 2S battery is just going to sit underneath this pocket right here. I'm going to try to figure out a way that I can sit these wires as close to the end of the battery pack as possible and sit them as far back to this edge right here, and then obviously get the battery connector tucked in, and then this is going to be the only wire sticking out. Alright, so the winch, this winch box right here is going to sit right underneath this plate, and it's going to sit on the bottom of the winch. Just trying to make sure it's nicely seated in there. Now we're going to get some zip ties. Zip tie the winch down. The reason I'm doing this is because there's a lot of movement within the winch, so I figured I'd just add a zip tie, or 1 or 2 zip ties, so that way it's not moving back and forth. Alright, and then I'm going to need one more zip tie to tie these wires to the side of the chassis. Just need to make sure these aren't in the way at all. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and flip the truck around. Actually, we're gonna leave it this way. Move you to the front of the truck right there. Alright, now we're going to be working with the power shift one. So I'm trying to get this mounted up as good as possible, so it's stuck on there and it doesn't fall off. Alright, so that's all set. This wire is probably going to route down somewhere through the back of the chassis. So now to connect everything together, I have, where is it? Is it this wire? Alright, so I have this weird splitter right here. So basically this piece will be plugging in directly to the battery. This piece will be plugging directly into the battery. No, my bad. This piece will be plugging into the battery. Like so. So black to black. Bam. So this piece will actually be sticking out. And these ends will be already plugged into the winches. So whenever I do want to use my winches, I plug this end into the battery and I'm perfectly good to go. So I'm going to route these two wires into both winches so I can get that situated and figure out where I'm going to place my wires. Alright guys, so I am back and I was able to route the wires good enough, I would say, to where it's out of the way from a lot of stuff. I was able to cut some Velcro. I ended up finding the Velcro and putting a piece underneath this so I can take out that zip tie. And this ain't going nowhere anymore. I used those extra extensions and I zip tied most of it underneath the back, lifted this side so that way I can reroute all the wires by the C-frame, the chassis frame. So that's all hidden. Don't really see much on the bottom for wires. And I did Velcro the 2S battery to the floor pan here on the 10.2 chassis. And I got to connect the wires right here so that way when I do plug it in, both winches have power and I can work them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my key so I can show you that real quick. Alright guys, I'm back. I had to do some fiddling with the winch, unplugging, rebinding. So apparently it didn't want to rebind to the remote I have here on my keys. No clue why, but it did bound up to the spare one I have. So just to show you, everything is working perfectly fine. There we go. And then with the front one, it's pretty simple. I don't even know if it's plugged in, to be honest with you. Anyways, the front one does work. I just have to plug in. I think I forgot to plug in the other side of the winch, or it's probably plugged in backwards. So yeah, so that concludes the video. Got a lot done. Basically all I really have left is my shocks, my King shocks. My friend hasn't uploaded the video, so I'll probably fiddle with the shocks myself in the next video. And then the last thing I need to do is clean up my rims, and what else, and reset the settings on the Home Hobbies BLE Pro ESC, and go on Castle Link to set it to the settings I want to have for this truck. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace, guys.